What I watched in April. It's ya boy Thando, and welcome back to another installment of Filmmaker Fridays, where I take every Friday to speak about something that is filmmaking related. And every first Friday of the month, I look at the films that I watched in the previous month. I've said month way too much. I said for like a week, and I watched all the movies that were nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. So yeah, I do have a bit of an opinion on who won. I don't necessarily agree with the decision made by the Academy, but that is neither here nor there. First film I watched was Sound of Metal, directed by Darius Marder. Sound of Metal tells the story of a heavy metal drummer whose life is completely flipped around when he begins to lose his hearing. Now, one of my favorite things about this film is the essential context. In the second scene of the film, where we're in the main character's van, there is so much in the production design that tells us about the character without using dialogue. And this is something I really love to see in films, because even when we get to know people, yes, we talk to them and we get to know them by speaking to them, but also we just watch how people live their life. And like, say you visit someone's room, you'll see certain things in someone's room that tells you about that person, and this film did a lot of that, and I feel like I enjoy that more than exposition through dialogue. And so that's one of the things I really loved about this film. Another thing I loved about this film is the color. This film just basically catered to all the stylistic choices that I personally love. The green tints and the color grade, the choice of using handheld, but most importantly, I think I liked that there was no human antagonist. And in the story, that antagonist is the loss of hearing. It gets in the way of what our character wants. Our character wants to be a successful drummer, but then he goes deaf, and so the loss of his hearing becomes the antagonist. And I think that really does reflect life, because I think most of the time our antagonist in our life stories is not human. And so I really love this film, and I honestly think that it was a great contender for Best Picture. The next film that I watched was The Father, which was directed by Florian Izela with Anthony Hamilton as the leading man. The Father tells the story of a man who refuses all assistance from his daughter as he ages. As he tries to make sense of his changing circumstances, he begins to doubt his loved ones, his own mind, and even the fabric of reality. The thing about this film is it tells the story of someone who's losing his memory. Through editing and production design, it creates an intentional confusion, and we see this in the slight changes in production design. I think we see 3 different versions of our protagonist's house. You gradually start noticing them throughout the film, and I think that all around it was a really great film and does deserve to be nominated for Best Picture. The next film I watched was Judas and the Black Messiah, directed by Shaka King. The film tells the story of William O'Neill as he's offered a plea deal by the FBI to infiltrate the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party to gather intelligence on Chairman Fred Hampton. I don't have a lot to say about this film, but it was amazing. It was amazing. We have Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya. Do what you must with that information. Only good things could happen from that combo. I absolutely loved this film because it's like they took all the young black actors who were doing very well in Hollywood today, and they said, guys, we're all going to just make a movie. Bro, these people had Ashton Sanders, bro. Like they were, I can't complain. It was just a great film all around. I personally think it should have won Best Picture, for obvious reasons. But speaking of Best Picture, that does bring me to my next film, which actually won Best Picture, Nomadland, directed by Chloe Zhao. Nomadland tells a story of a woman in her 60s who, after losing everything in the Great Recession, embarks on a journey through the American West, living as a van-dwelling modern-day nomad. Now, what did I think of this movie? It was okay. Like, look, watching the movie without knowing what it's about just feels like I watched a movie that was about nothing. It's not a bad movie. Like, it's not a bad movie, but it genuinely felt like I watched a movie that was about nothing. I do think it had a very great soundtrack and score, and I loved the color grading. Next film I watched was Promising Young Woman. directed by Thando. This film tells the story of a woman named Casey who's wickedly smart, tantalizingly cunning, and she lives a secret double life by night. Now an unexpected encounter is about to give Casey a chance to right the wrongs from the past. I think all round Promising Young Woman is a really great film and really succeeds in telling the story of a woman getting revenge, but in a non-violent way. I think that's the best way to describe it without giving away too much of the film. I think it had a really great inciting incident, kind of just rolling the ball from the beginning of the film, and it had a really likable protagonist. Last but not least, I finally watched The Pursuit of Happiness. I know I'm like 15 years late, but I did grow up in a Christian household where I was not allowed to watch non-Christian films, and so I'm catching up on a lot of those films now. The Pursuit of Happiness is directed by Gabriel Muccino, I think that's how you say it. It tells the story of a single father, Chris Gardner, who is evicted from his apartment. He and his son find themselves alone with no place to go, and even though Chris eventually lands a job as an intern at a prestigious brokerage firm, the position pays no money. The pair must live in a shelter and endure many hardships, but Chris refuses to give in to despair as he struggles to create a better life for himself and his son. Now, for sure, this was a film I wish I had watched earlier in my life because it kind of speaks to people who, you know, they're trying to hustle, and it's very encouraging to watch this character that Will Smith plays go through the hustle to make sure he's providing for his family against all odds. And at the end of the day, you walk away from this movie feeling really good and encouraged. I think that anytime a film succeeds at doing this, it makes it a really great film. Thank you so much for watching this installment of Filmmaker Friday. Down in the comments, let me know what you've been watching. Down in the comments, give me some of your suggestions. Also, let me know what you think about the Oscar winners. I know it's like 2 weeks late, but I am interested in knowing. Lastly, I'm not gonna beg you guys, but hey, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button.